Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about the Deuce Season 2, Episode 1. It's called our Raison d'etre. So, full spoilers for the episode, and we're back. We're back with Season 2, and we really like Season 1. Season 1 was a really good season of 8 episodes. Very tightly directed, very impressive in its production, great cast, and we're back. We're back with a 6-year time jump. We were 71 last season, this is 1977. So we're a good chunk later in the decade, and some things have changed, some things haven't changed that much. You know, it's kind of, we've moved along, everyone's kind of on the path we kind of expected them to be on, based on where we were for the most.
Yeah, some further than others.
Yeah. What I want to compliment right away is the opening shot, which is a one shot Steadicam following Candy as she walks in from the street up into this new disco, this club, the 366, which now Vincent runs. He owns a club. And now Abby, who he was with, of course, from Season 1, is running the old bar, the Hi-Hat, which was new in Season 1,
Yeah.
but now it's like 6 years old, obviously.
No, it's this punk bar.
Yes, which he doesn't understand because he's an old man and punk's a new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, the opening shot with Candy was very good. I thought it told us a lot of information, despite because the episode as a whole is very much here's reintroducing every character and reminding you where they all are.
Up. Yeah.
But that opening shot with Candy, I thought, because she's walking down the street, like we've seen her do a lot of times, but she's walking down with a fur coat on, and she looks like she owns the place. Like she's a big shot now, and some people like say hi to her. She kind of smiles at them, and again it's all one take. And she goes into this door and she goes up the stairs, and as she goes round the stairs, around the corner upstairs, she starts to move with the music a little bit. She starts to dance just a little touch, and says, Big Mike's there, and he says hi beautiful and spins her around, and she comes in and we keep following her into the club. It's a very impressive one shot because we start out in the street and we go in, and I'm sure there's a couple of tricks to connect different locations, but it feels like one shot as she's out of the club, and we eventually get to Laurie and Cece at the bar, and then obviously Vincent comes up, and Vincent's got long hair, Frankie does not, so now it's very easy to tell them apart. I applaud this change.
This feels like it was a feedback-driven decision.
Possibly,
less a creative choice, and more people were struggling, and they were like, right, okay, let's just make it easy.
Yeah, I mean, you say that. I mean, I think you could argue it's kind of 50-50 where the creators themselves have watched Season 1, seen the reaction, and went, you know what, no, I think we made the wrong choice. We should probably give one of them an identifying marker, in this case, longer hair. So Vincent's rocking the hair, which is fine. There's even a joke, actually, in the episode about someone not telling them apart. Which I thought was fun. The new guy who runs the diner. But we got a lot of the same locations, but we got this new club, and we see that everyone, or most people, are doing quite well. I say most. There's a couple that aren't, but for the most part, everyone seems to have advanced in what they're doing. Because the opening scene is very much, because it ends with Vincent and Candy just kind of complimenting each other, saying, "Hey, look at us! I've got the hottest club in town."
Pretty good.
Yeah. You're like this star, director, producer, porn star. Life's going pretty well. And it all seems. Now, obviously, we're going to get into some nitty gritty and see why things aren't as perfect as they possibly should be.
Of course.
Because otherwise there'd be no plot, and it would just be everyone's happy for 9 episodes.
I mean, you say that there wasn't that much plot in Season 1.
In the best way possible.
No, I don't mean that as an insult.
In the best way possible. So what we did last season is we kind of just took each character's plot, because I mean they over obviously lapped in places here or there, but for the most part we could take this character or a group of characters and their plot and work from there. So we'll take Vincent. Why not?
Yeah.
Start with him.
Just before we do.
Oh yeah.
Was this a new opening title credits song? Because I don't remember this at all.
The song's completely different. What I actually liked about it, because at first I was criticising it in my head because I thought, this is all the same clips though, they've just slapped a new song on it. However, about halfway through it transitions to new footage, and I think the point of that was that it's like, because we're going further in the decade, because obviously there's lots of images from the time period and it's meant to look like it's of the era. As it went on, it changed into what I would take as later 70s stuff. Like, okay, so this is how the decade developed by this point. Which is funny, because if we get a Season 3 and it jumps another 4 or 5 years, we'll actually be in the 80s.
Yeah.
Which would make a lot of sense, actually, because the whole idea of the era of this part of the city kind of went through the 80s as well. So it actually makes a lot of sense to kind of keep going like that.
No,
But
it does.
yeah,
I was just like, I don't remember this song at all. Am I imagining it?
it doesn't surprise me either because the Wire did a kind of similar thing. Although that kept the same song, but every year was a different cover. Like a different band would do a different version of
Yeah,
it,
right.
and they'd sound very
It's
different.
it's something I'm used to from a lot of anime where they'll change the song halfway through a season just because.
The
Like,
Deuce
it's
reminds me of
frustrating.
anime.
No, just in terms of this, like yeah, the way they're really flippant with the opening song, being like, "Yeah,
Okay,
go on, we felt like a change. We'll just do it now."
yeah.
Like
So I'd
12
I'd,
episodes in.
I'd expect a new one every season.
Yeah, oh, cool.
That just seems to be the choice they're going to make, which is fine. Uh,
Yeah,
and maybe even you could argue the song choices again as like, oh, this one's like a later '70s type style track as opposed to the first season. I don't know. I don't know my music well enough from the '70s to actually say that and mean it. I'm just assuming that's the case.
I can't remember the one from the first season well enough clearly because I wasn't sure that this was new.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So Vince's problem for this episode, as tradition, is Frankie. Frankie
Yeah.
co-runs the I can't remember what it's called, the shot hop or something like that. The shot. Oh, god damn it, I can't remember the name of it. But it's a sex shop with the windows and the
Yes.
booths and all that. Obviously, it's another place that Rudy kind of takes a cut from, and that's all fine. And Frankie comes in, he makes some small talk with the guy, and he goes into the back. He keeps questioning, is Irene here? Irene's a new character. She's the co-manager. She's also who runs this place. And they reference a lot of the episode that she's a lesbian, and much less friendly wording, might I add. But he goes into the back and he just empties the safe, and he walks out, and he just kind of assures the guy, like the bouncer dude who's got the change belt on, because he gives people change. There's this one guy that keeps coming up for change for the booth. For one of the booths, he's
Yeah.
like, that guy comes in here and spends like $20 in quarters in that same booth every day. He's obsessed. But he's leaving, and he's just like, no, don't worry, I'm taking this to the bank, I'm going to deposit. And Irene walks some of their breakfast because it's been all night, it's the start of the morning, and she comes in, and like, oh, Frankie, don't. And he's like, no, I'm going to the bank, I swear, I'm going to deposit it. And it's kind of murky because you're like, because I think at this point you're not necessarily sure if he's running this place yet. We find that out as the episode goes on that he actually works here as well. He's also,
But we know Frankie,
yeah, we know Frankie,
and we know he's probably not going to deposit it.
and not only do we know that, we get the impression from the context of the scene, the way that Irene and the other guy are acting, that he's done this before, and they know they should be worried.
Yeah. That's it. 6 years later, and you're just like, yeah, it's still Frankie.
Well, actually, one of my favourite lines in this is that he comes in and he's to make small talk with the guy. He's kind of talking about the basketball game last night or whatever it was, and he's complaining about the play. And the guy at one point says, "Oh, did you have a bet on?" And he just says, "Always, always."
Yeah, it was a stupid question.
Yeah. So Vincent, he goes home and he arrives at home in the morning, and Abby's just getting up to go and start working in the bar, and we see that they're in a living relationship, dependent on each other, but they're at very different times clearly. And he tries to initiate sex, but she's not got time for it, and she has to go. But then he gets a phone call about Frankie, and he's like, "Oh, Frankie." So he spends the episode, and this is actually a really neat trick to introduce us to where everyone is right now, because his plot this episode is to go around all of our other main characters and collect Rudy's take, as well as looking for Frankie because he stole this money. So that leads us to a few other people. It leads us back to the bar with Abby, and she's running this place, and she's been a little bit different. She's been a bit more liberal with it, but not only the punk music, she's hiring people who protest. She's hanging up pictures of vaginas essentially that might be upside down. That was a funny little scene. I'm not gonna lie, I was giggling. I was giggling at the confusion of if it was the right way up or not. That was the part that was making me laugh. I also wasn't sure if it was actually supposed to be obviously it looked like a vagina, but was it supposed to just be a vagina straight up, or was it meant to be like this? Oh, this looks like a vagina, but it's actually something else or an interpretation or whatever.
I think the former, given Abby's
Right.
character.
That's a fair point. So she's running this place her way, and then he goes to Paul, who's got his own gay bar now. And of course, Vincent's feeling a little uncomfortable as he goes in the back, and there's all these things going on.
It's I'm looking for a guy,
I'm looking
and someone just comes up behind him.
Yeah, well, I think it's Paul actually sticks up behind him and hugs him. And so he turns around and sees it. He's like, "Oh God, thank God!" And he's just asking quick because the guy walks by in like assless chaps, and he's like, "Where does he put his wallet?"
Fair question.
That's the question he's asking. So we get introduced to Paul and what he's doing. We'll just briefly touch on his other scene with his boyfriend. Is that he's wanting to set up a new place, a new joint that's something they've set up on their own without Vincent's help. Because it's not that he doesn't like Vincent, but that leads to Rudy, and it means that it's never really his. He wants to set up something that's completely his own. But clearly his bar that he's got right now is
understandable, inevitably going to go wrong.
sure, yeah. That said, we were saying all last season that by the end Vincent was going to be like in deep with the mob and be like, in danger. And here he is 6 years later.
Seems to have gone pretty well for him, doesn't it?
I mean, I'm still expected to go tits up by the end of the show, but now I have no basis to say, by the end of this season or next season or whatever.
Yeah,
it'll happen when
definitely.
it happens. But so we get Paul and the idea he wants to do this, and then again Vincent goes around, and it leads us to some other places that we get to see, and that's cool. And he's overworking, he's tired, he's not sleeping enough. So setting up kind of the problems of the episode and his overall anger at Frankie. And I do like that once after this scene where Frankie takes the money near the start, we don't see him again until Vincent does. He's missing. He's a ghost. You think he might have skipped town, to be honest, at one point.
No, it is a nice touch. It's a very quick and easy way to just pop us right alongside Vincent's head, isn't it?
Yeah, and it turns out later that he's ran off and got married to a girl who's one of the porn actresses from the movies, because he ends up going to like Candy's studio where Harvey and that works, and asks about her and gets a phone number. And that was kind of fun because I don't think we've ever seen Vincent interact with Harvey, for example. It was it was interactions that I don't think we really got a lot of last year.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But though the demeanor they have, they're clearly very, very familiar with each other. Friendly, casual.
Yeah. So especially Candy and Vincent. There was definitely a lot of familiarity. Because she was cracking jokes. She was like, "Hey, want to join the orgy scene?" He's like, "I'm shy. Go away, leave me alone." And then we would finally see Frankie again. I'm going to do that a lot this season. Brace yourself, folks. It's happening.
Yeah, I did a lot last season too.
I did. He's got this Christine with him, and they're dancing, and he comes up and says they're married, and he's like, "Oh, where did the money go? Where's the 10 grand?" Because he asked him like 10 times. He's trying to introduce his new wife, and he keeps like, "Where's the money? Where's the effing money, Frankie? Where is
Abby's just there giving him evils, going, "Come on, calm down."
Abby was probably my favourite part of this scene because there was a point where she just turned into this. She had this smirk on her face and she was just enjoying the drama of the scene. She was just enjoying the fighting with Frankie and Vincent and how it wasn't going to resolve the way Vincent wanted it to be. And because at one point, he wants to toast it, he gets out a bottle of champagne really sarcastically, does Vincent, and he pulls the glasses and he keeps fighting with Frankie for a bit. And then when eventually he's like, "Hey, that's just all toast," and you just see Abby pass the glass over to Vincent with a smirk on her face, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
She's just enjoying the trouble.
Such an enabler.
Yeah, she's just having fun with the chaos because she knows this is what Frankie's like. And then, of course, just because I think throughout this episode, you could think that this is going to end with them properly falling out. And again, kind of like how last season we kept saying, eventually, he's going to be in trouble with the mob. And I thought, maybe by the end of the episode, he's going to actually cut ties with Frankie, and Frankie's going to be in trouble because he's not going to look out for him anymore and cover his ass. But instead, no, it reasserts, no, they are brothers. He does love his stupid brother no matter what. And he's like, "You know what? I'll cover the money you took. It's a wedding gift from me. I paid for the ring. It's fine."
Yeah.
And that's it.
This 30 seconds after he's like, "Oh, you got married again." No offense.
No offense. Yeah, and then he keeps asking, and he's like, "I'll just be like my brother and don't mention it." I love it. The character, Joe, I think is really impressive with scenes like this is that at no point in my head did I ever think of, it's weird they had to film this twice. Well, obviously you film scenes multiple times, but everything twice because there's 2 James Franco roles. It feels natural the entire time. It never feels like they had to do multiple sides of this where in one take he's not really standing there and so on.
It never feels like it's one person playing 2 roles, right? It feels like brothers.
Yeah, because I feel like in a lot of movies and shows when you have one actor playing 2 roles, it almost feels like a bit of a gimmick and a setup where you'll have them on either side of the screen and they're making a point of saying, hey. In this, it's so natural that they never try and really shove it in your face or anything like that. It's just
there's a really nice easy divide with the bar.
Yeah,
just on either side, right? But it feels natural that they're stood there. And it was a different angle. It wasn't just left and right there. There was this slant that just offset it a little bit.
I think what I'm trying to say is at no point in the direction did they ever do anything because it was the same actor playing both roles. It feels natural.
Mm.
No decision was based on that, and I'm sure it obviously presents a lot of complications when you're actually shooting, but that never carries over to us as the viewer, and that's a lot of talent. I think for us not to feel like they're making allowances for the fact that they have to shoot it a different way because it's the same guy, and that's
I
impressive.
agree. It felt like you could have had two people there and it would look exactly the same, right?
Yeah, so that's impressive.
Yeah, I think that scene might be my favorite scene in the episode.
Oh, that's fair.
Just that was a lot of fun.
It sounds like I'm dissing the rest of the episode, but it may be the opening shot for me. I thought that opening shot was just oozing style. Like the way it moved with the rhythm, the way she started dancing a little bit as she went in the club, and just the way it kind of followed her. It had this like fluidity to it that just
No, that was a great shot, fantastic camera work and direction. Don't get me wrong, but the dialogue in this scene just absolutely fantastic.
yeah. So that was Vince's plot. And of course, he eventually does have sex the next morning with Abby, which I'll leave that for now because I feel that ties in really nicely with Candy's story, which we'll dive into. So Candy is big shot now, and we see that she's edited a porn film, and it's got all these weird, almost David Lynch-esque cutaways to random shit.
Yeah.
I think at one point there was like zebras running in a field in the middle of this porn.
Yeah, I don't blame the guy for going, what the hell? I can't sell this.
Honestly, my bigger critique, and it's funny because Harvey does bring this up, because the whole point is that she's shown him this, and then he turns around and critiques it and says, no, this is shit, we can't use this for X, Y, and Z reasons. But what made me laugh is he specifically pointed out you're cutting back to the guy's faces too much, and I'm like, yes, no one watching porn ever wants that.
It's true.
No one.
It's true. And that's the thing. The guys there. It's like, yeah, look, it's got great pace. It's got style, but it's not what the consumer wants.
Yeah, well, actually, what I like from her point of view, though, is that she was saying, no, the pacing ramping up is meant to be the built-in orgasm. Like, I'm trying to emulate that in the editing. And I'm like, you know what? Taking away the fact that it's porn and someone who just enjoys filmmaking, I'm like, you know what? No, that makes sense. I actually really respect that. And it's kind of showing, again, that she has these aspirations, that even though she's doing this full-time now, she keeps wanting to go further. She wants to become more of an artist. And that's cool.
And the guy respects that. He's like, no, that's fine. You want to keep the pace. You keep the pace. But you do it without all the weird shots.
Yes. It's funny, though, how much porn's changed since then, though, because porn now, basically, the simpler it's shot, the better for most people, I think. Like, it's a lot more straightforward.
Compared to that, it definitely doesn't cut around like that, no.
So, it's just interesting, but she wants to make it all artistic. She wants to use, what's this random guy at a dinner party? Oh, that's who she's fantasizing about. Oh, that's great. Well, but no one cares. It's a bit selfish, perhaps, but no one's watching porn because they want to understand the other person's mind. They're just it's porn.
It's true.
And so she takes that on board, and we see her editing again later on, just kind of staring at it. And of course, as someone who does edit, admittedly I've never edited porn, but as someone who does edit, I will say I get like almost nightmares watching someone edit pre-computers with like film and cutting, and because there's so many things where I Control Z. I press Control Z to undo what I just did because I don't like it.
I get it. As not film, but music.
Yeah.
Same thing. I was like, I can't comprehend, editing on tape. I can't.
It has to be like 4 or 5 times long to do in terms of the time it takes, if not more.
Oh, easily.
Yeah. It's absolutely. It's horrifying to think about. I don't like it at all. But there's some great stuff with her on set as well. There's a great scene where she's getting ready for a scene. She's just sort of lying on the table, waiting for like the camera crew to set up and stuff. And she has like almost like a very in-your-face comment at one point where she says, who'd have thought the most boring part of this whole thing would have been the sex? And she's kind of just sitting there daydreaming about other things to shoot. And again, there's a very meta comment at the end where she says, "Oh, we could go downstairs and you could shoot us, robbing the liquor store." And it's not really even that serious a comment, but he just kind of says, "Oh, the guy walking past says, oh, you're not dressed for it," and she's like, "Yeah, not dressed for it." It's kind of like, the idea that she's kind of outgrowing being this, she's outgrowing doing this, and again, so it's her progression is exactly what we'd expect based on where she was last season.
She might be the one that is exactly what we expected. Some of the others, like, yeah, maybe we're in the ballpark. Some, others, okay, they're nowhere near what we'd have thought. But I think she's exactly what we kind of expect her to be, on exactly on that track. Progress. Really interested in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah. So no, I thought that scene was really good. But of course, the big scene at the end, just to kind of show that she's, the scene where it intercuts her watching her finished scene. Like, she's edited the scene together and she's watching it, and that intercuts with Abby and Vincent having sex, and how they have all this passion. And at the end, they start smoking, and her on the other end, she's watching her scene, and at the end of it, she starts smoking, and it's like, for her, this is what gets not off. She's not aroused by this, but this is what creatively fulfills her now. This is what she's interested in, is actually putting the scene together, more than the sex itself is whatever. But again, the comparison there is very obvious. It's very in your face, but it works, because I'd forgotten how much I liked when the music kicks in at the end. Just the bass.
Yeah. Well, that's just like, that's the shot every time.
Yeah, but it makes its point. It's like, we just made a point. Cut to music,
Yeah.
So very, very impressive. I thought her stuff, like last season, is probably some of the most promising.
Yeah.
So I'll wait to see how she grows over the season, with all that stuff. So in terms of other characters, there's a bit of Laurie and Cece sort of spread throughout. She's actually one of the stars who's doing a lot of these films now. And Cece, if any characters...
Ideas of grandeur.
Although I'd argue that Cece, in a lot of ways, is probably one of the characters who's progressed the least in season 1. I felt like at the end of season 1, we were talking about how the pimps had this struggle where things are changing and they might not be as relevant anymore. And I feel like Cece's still in the exact same place where he is just clutching it.
Towing the line.
Yeah, he's just holding on to it as hard as he can. He gives Candy some shit at the start for not arranging things through him.
It's when we're at the porn set, and he gets the call, and it's like, oh, well, and you can see the director being like, I don't want to deal with this guy. I want to just deal with the girls themselves.
Yeah.
You can see it, and it's like, okay, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and it's purely because he's unnecessary. He's just this middleman for no reason.
And he's unreliable, because he could just, all right, we're going now.
Yeah.
Whereas the girl's clearly like, no, we agreed to this. I'm fine being here.
There's a few moments where Laurie, because at one point the other girl in the car wants to go back home, and she's like, oh, hey, we've got time. We can drop her off first before we go to the set. And he's like, you contradicting me? Like, even though she's making a fair point, and there's nothing argumentative about what she just said. She was just suggesting, hey, I think we've got time if you want to. It was like it was probably the most friendly way of suggesting something you could possibly think of. And he's like, you contradicting me? And then later on, this guy's like, hey, can I get a night with you? I'm a fan. I've seen your movies. They give you $200 and some cocaine. And she's like, oh, I'm down. And she's excited about it. And then Cece's like, no. You're like, you're a top item now. You're like a fur coat. 500 or
500.
And that's it. And she's like, yeah, there was a time where that would be a whole night's pay. That'd be like a whole night worth of work. And he's like, yeah, but you realize who you are. You're special. And she's like, I'm a whore. And you made that very... Because this is the thing. The way he treated her at the porn set was kind of the point she brings up here. And he's got no response. For the first time, I think Cece's standing there almost...
He's stumped.
Yeah. Because you're treating me like this in one scene.
I think it's the first time he has the realization of where the industry is. Because she's like, I'm a whore, but now I'm a whore with no pay for the night.
Yeah.
And he's like, shit.
And it's even the idea. His argument here is that, no, you're better than that. You have to know who you are. But the problem is that once she realizes who she is, she's going to realize she doesn't need him.
Yeah. He can't win, can he?
No. And I think that hits him in that scene. So
poor bastard's obsolete. He knows it.
It's hard to feel sorry for the abusive pimp, who we've seen be...
I mean, I know, it is.
Particularly abusive, even more than the other pimps in the show.
I did say that pretty flippantly. I wasn't being serious with the sympathy.
Yeah, I'm just making sure. You're ginger, I have to check.
Fair enough.
We get one quick scene with Rodney, who of course was one of the smaller characters in the show anyway, but we see him kind of criticising that, oh, hey, you should go back on the street and make a lot of money again, to Shay. You just clean yourself up a little bit. But again, it's kind of like, it's kind of showing us the different rungs. Like, this is someone who still has street prostitutes. Yep. There's a new pimp that CC talks to on the shoe stand at one point, the shoe shining guy, who's got a different kind of philosophy about not showing it off as much. And he's like, what's the point then? I have this lifestyle so I can show off my ridiculous clothes and shoes. Like what?
He's got a point, right?
Oh yeah, you're just
It's
advertising to people, to the police specifically that.
But both of them though,
Yeah.
yeah, the new guy's like, hey, yeah, but keep it subtle. You don't want to get caught. And Cece's like, no, I am like this because I want to, be flamboyant and show off. It's like, for him, the money isn't the aim. It's the position and the look. It's just like, so that's what he wants out of it.
Yeah, and the other guy's just like, that's not as what's important to him as much. It's not the status that's around him. But we get a little bit of Ronnie and we get a little bit of Larry. I had to think of his name there. There's so many characters. We had to run down all the characters before we started and just remind ourselves of all the names because there's like 50 characters.
There's a lot, yeah.
And it's been a year, obviously. Because Larry's only got one scene, and obviously he's Darlene's pimp, and he's still upset about her reading books and stuff like that. But we see that she's progressed because, I mean, she's doing movies, but she's got or was it a GED, I think specifically she had, the diploma, and she's thinking of taking a night class. And we see that she's still kind of friends with Abby, and Abby still supports her, but it kind of keeps her nose out of it, doesn't try to interfere too much, but is there to talk to her about things when stuff comes up. And it's like, okay, right, so Darlene's, has done something, because a big thing for her character last season was that it looked like she was going to, and then she kind of regressed, like, really badly.
Every time.
Yeah. Whereas this is more like an integration where she's kind of gradually doing it while still having this life. But again, Larry's very concerned about her attitude and that she's kind of drifting. And I thought it was interesting that there's a new girl under his what do you call it? Command? Not command. Call it what you will. But he's got a new girl who's very eager, like super eager. Like, let's have sex right now. I can go and work right now. He's like, calm down. You're working tonight. Like, just take the day off and do things.
Yeah, I feel like there was a couple of girls who were like this last season. Every so often, you just have them feel like, yeah, no, I'm new. Let's do this.
I mean, Laurie was kind of like that to a point. I mean, she wasn't as enthusiastic as this girl, but she was very gun ho about getting into it.
There was. I feel like there was always a couple, not even like the main one, just every in the side every so often.
Yeah.
Just, like this.
So yeah. So there wasn't a lot with a couple of the pimps in this episode, but it was kind of just setting them up, saying, "Hey, remember these guys? They're around. This is what we're doing with them."
This whole episode, for the most part, is catch up. This is where everyone is. This is these are the players for the season.
Yeah. We get a small scene with Rudy. They've got this plan to take away the windows because the sex shop at the back's like a viewing feature where you pay money to open the window up, or not open the window, but open the shutter and have a look at the dancers. And now they're going to take away the window, so if they want, they can tip and get a feel. Is basically the idea, because that's not going to go poorly as soon as you get one crazy guy in there.
The logical next step from the business side, though.
I suppose it is. It's funny how it becomes less like actual prostitution, but now it's going further towards it again. It's like, no, now they're going to get a feel, so now it's back towards prostitution. But, is what it is. So yeah, all these different things set up. Alston, of course, is around. We see he's been promoted. He's now a detective who takes murder cases, and he's inspecting this guy who got killed that he suspects may have came with his family but ditched them so he could go and get some prostitutes, but he ended up getting stabbed, so he's looking into that crime. But we see he's
classic 70s story.
Oh yeah, sure. But we get a couple of things with him. He's got a girlfriend that he's living with. They have a very sweet relationship. Obviously, his big thing last season, he kept trying to be with the reporter, and he was kind of just being used by her. And then this season, he does have a girlfriend who's a nurse, and then we see them flirt a little bit, joke about Foxy Brown, which would have been a movie that came out in the last 6 years.
Yeah,
during the time period, because I think that was 74 if I remember right. I know, it was it's nice. Alston was always a very likable character. He's kind of this moral center to the show.
Yeah, no, he was. He was also the lawful good, right?
He is, but he's a lawful good who's not like naive. Like even in this episode, this the aide to the lawyer comes. Not the lawyer, sorry, the mayor. The aide to the mayor comes. He's like, I'm doing some prep work. This new candidate, this new mayor is going to be cleaning up the streets. And he just kind of sighs and goes, yeah, the last guy did that, and the two before him, and probably tons before him. So as much as he's lawful good, he's very kind of down to earth and understands sort of the world's the way it is, and he tries to do his best. But he doesn't have these goals where he knows they're unattainable, if I say that properly.
He's not got these lofty ideals of fixing everything. but he's very true to himself, and he won't actively make anything worse.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so yeah, we just a little bit of catch up on him, seeing where he is in all this. A couple of other things we see that as we're going back to Vincent going making the rounds, but we see Bobby's got a mustache now, and is using the girls frequently.
Yeah, much more than he was before, and Vince doesn't look too happy about this.
He's still married to his sister, technically, from the sounds of it.
Exactly.
He still calls him his brother-in-law, which makes me think, yeah, I mean, does he not have a problem that this dude's, cheating on his sister?
I think he does. That's why he's very standoffish with him.
Yeah, the Bobby doesn't understand. He's just like, what did I do? It's what I actually thought of The Wire during that scene, because what the F did I do was basically the catchphrase of McNulty on The Wire, just for anyone who watched that. So I actually thought of The Wire during that scene. I don't know if that was intentional, if it's just it's a common enough phrase, but
it is common enough, and it was the right joke for the time.
Yeah, but that became McNulty's catchphrase on that. He'd say that a lot, because he would always mess up and then be like, "What the F I do?"
Fair enough.
So no, but the show's still slick as hell. It's got its style. It feels like the 70s. It feels very authentic. Feels like they pumped money into it. The other cop, Danny, he's been kicked out because he was cheating on his wife. So that's ongoing. Lots of little things being set up around the place. So
yeah, I'm sure we'll get to properly when they come up respectively in the coming episodes.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So was that everything? I mean, I should probably mention that Harvey's lost a lot of weight, because that was very noticeable.
It was, and a few of them mentioned it.
Yeah, I think actually I did a lot of digging into this. He had I forget what it was, but he had an illness and that made him gain weight. So I think he was intentionally always going to go back down to what his normal size is. He just happened to be filming season 1 whilst he was overweight. So I think the reasoning in the show is just a way to explain why he's in much better shape. So they had a little thing.
6 years, people lose weight.
Yeah, they do. But he's got a wife now, and she's making him eat healthy, and he's miserable because he's eating cottage cheese.
I get it. No one wants to eat that.
Yeah, no, I get it too. But yeah, he's looking slim. And then Karate Kid's back as the other cop.
Yep.
Yeah, I see him making fun of Alston, who's now outranking him. So there you go. He's a sergeant. But hey, so I think that's everything. I'm always worried about this show. There's so many characters. There's so much stuff going on.
I was going to say, we say that every episode. I think that's everything. There's always something.
There's always one thing, yeah. Big Mike's a bouncer for the club. I mean, we didn't mention him, but he was nice to see him again.
I mean, we mentioned that right at the start with Candy going in.
I'll take your word for it.
No. We mentioned him, spinning her around.
Yeah. Oh, it's quite right. So yeah, all things considered. So yeah, there's a lot going on. If we have missed anything, I'm sure we'll mention it becomes relevant again in the coming weeks, in the coming episodes. Yes. Very, very heavy drama though. Lots of little character interactions to analyse. Lots of the same ongoing themes from before. But it handles its points really well. So despite the fact that it's very plot laxed, every scene
just a joy to watch.
Yeah, every scene feels like it's got the same love and care put into it. Good acting, good direction.
Great dialogue.
Yeah,
right. The script is king.
Yeah, writing's off the charts. It's just fantastic. So here we are, Deuce season 2. So apologies, this was a day later than normally. Normally these should go up on Monday night. Connor's heavier work schedule that's been a bit more erratic is making it harder to set things in stone. But it should be Monday night most weeks.
Yes, here's hoping.
But that is episode 1 of season 2 of the Deuce. We'll be back next week with episode 2. So by all means, let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. We do have a Patreon, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. If you want to support the channel and the reviews and everything we do here and keep them coming, you can head over there and support us for as little as $1 per month, and that's a huge help if you want to do that. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. And given the booth scene at the start when Frankie goes in to check it, I shall alter my outro line here to "Have you got any semen?"